lot of 60s advocates who are now working on Wall Street. Why are they being babied like that? When are we going to hold them up to higher standards? When are we going to say to them, this is your country and your world. Stop trivializing your lives. And the most skilled among them, coming out of the business schools, engineering schools, medical schools, law schools, they're allowing their skills to be trivialized because, along with trivialization, comes a good paycheck. And so, we're brain draining ourselves domestically. And some of the finest scientists and engineers, instead of working on advanced zero pollution propulsion systems for motor vehicles, advanced personalized mass transit, instead of working on accelerating the conversion of the economy to solar energy, over the years I'm talking, not just this year, past years, instead of developing systems of accountability, technical systems of accountability, so we don't have these unintended consequences, such as radioactive waste disposal problems by having nuclear plants. They should have told us that a long time ago what the problem is. You know what they're doing? Huge numbers of them are working to perfect deadly multiple missile development, deadly outer space arms, deadly missile defense. So deadly that the MIT engineering professors say they can't work. The National Association of Physicists said missile defense cannot work. It's too easily decoyed by balloons in case someone wants to send a missile over with a return address, by the way. And the computer software is horrifically complex and subject to failure. Does that stop the U.S. military-industrial complex? Do you know how much we spend every year on missile defense? Which is a total boondoggle program for Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and so on. $9.5 billion. Now let's make that a comparison. What's 9.5 billion? Well, the EPA budget is less than that. The entire Environmental Protection Agency. And that's 65,000 dead Americans from air pollution alone every year. OSHA's budget is 700 million. It's not even a billion. That's 58,000 workplace-related deaths from disease in the workplace and trauma. You know the problem in this country starts with your belly. I don't mean you specifically. You wouldn't be here if you weren't active. I'm talking you generally. People know far more about what's wrong than their gut, their emotional intelligence drives that knowledge to break the routine, break the two-party prison, break the corporate domination of our lives. I'll give you an example. 81% of the people in a recent poll, the highest ever recorded, say the country's going in the wrong direction. 75% of the people say corporations have too much control over their lives. In a Gallup poll, 61% say the two major parties are failing. They know what's going on. They don't have the detail maybe some of us do, but they have something even more important. They have the daily rip-off experience. They have the daily sickness, the daily injury, the daily shut up and get in line. They have the daily being laid off arbitrarily. They have the daily experience of this concentration of power and wealth and its sharp abuses every day in their daily lives. Think what a single mom has to go through in this country. It's enough to make you rage. To have a job and a half, commutes, little time with the children, $500 a month daycare. Always behind on the bills. Always have to make choice between paying for certain medicine or certain food. Being nagged by the kids who are infiltrated by commercial marketing direct to children, bypassing the parents, undermining parental authority, and teaching the children how to nag the parents who are guilty enough because they can't provide them with enough what they need, and they can't provide enough time. This is the richest country in the world. When are the poor going to be heard from? When the contented classes stop making the distinction between personal freedom and civic freedom. When they stop the myth that because they can buy what they want, do what they want, go where they want, befriend who they want, that that's a good way to live. Because if you don't have civic freedom, the quality of your personal freedom is going to be lousy. Because contamination of this globe does not respect race, color, creed, and suffer. Although the poor pay more, the poor suffer more because of environmental racism. More and more of these problems, whether they're infectious disease epidemics or what have you, are transcending whether you're rich or poor. The same is true in many of the major perils affecting the planet. You know what it comes down to? It comes down to how do we use our time? We know far more than we're acting. There's an old Chinese proverb, which once you hear it, you will never forget it. I never forgot it. It's Ming Dynasty, 14th century. To know and not to do is not to know. To know and not to do is not to know. How much do our professors at universities know about the ills of our country? And they do not apply that knowledge. In fact, they sell their knowledge to corporate consulting contracts, if indeed they want to enter the real world, as they call it. I don't know how many professors of chemistry, how many professors of biology helped the citizens here defeat the light brown apple moth spray program. Maybe one or two, maybe. Hey, this thing should have been done in before it was even publicized. If we had faculty. If we had faculty that were public intellectuals, that were respected, as they are in South America and in Europe. In South America and Europe, professors are a factor more than they are in this country. They're busy publishing so they don't perish, and pretty soon they will perish even if they publish, given the restrictions and the layoffs and the contractions that are going on in public universities. But there's just too many people who know how to deal with every major secular problem in deprivation. You don't think the economists know how to abolish poverty? It's simple. It's been worked out for years. How do you want to abolish poverty? Well, first look at Western Europe. What do we learn from other countries? Western Europe essentially abolished poverty as we know it in this country years ago. And not just Scandinavia. You just never saw the raw, brutal slums that you see in American cities. The exploitation. Well, how did they do it? Well, let's go back to Eugene Debs. Very famous labor leader, as you know. He ran for president 5 times. I have a special affinity for Mr. Debs. Perennial injustice invites perennial candidacies. It's amazing how we expect athletic teams and athletes to bounce back again and again and again and again. But when citizens do it, they say, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Well, you know why I'm doing it. I don't have a closet full of white flags. I can't afford white flags. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this while people are dying and getting sick and being cheated and their life's possibilities being daunted and stultified? Imagine a question like that. When I announced on February 24th, a quasi-pseudo-liberal came on TV, Martin Kondraki, who I knew way back when he was in the Chicago Sun-Times. And he said, I don't understand why Nader's doing it again. I said, he comes across like a crank, a pariah. This guy knows Washington, D.C. is a pit of corruption, paralysis, selling our government to the highest bidder, and he comes across as a pundit. Pariah, crank. I tell you, cannot satire in Washington, D.C. These guys are not only out of touch, but we have a punditry class, what I call the opinion oligopoly.